Alright guys, here we go. We're going to talk right now a little bit about who I feel will be on the Chicago Cubs pitching staff come opening day 2012. And this will cover both who I feel could be starting pitching and relief pitching. Also some guys that may not start in the rotation or in the bullpen but could possibly come up during the season to fill in some holes. First, we're going to start out with the bullpen. I'm going to have Marcus Mateo in the bullpen first. Mateo was injured on the 4th of July in Washington, was placed on the 15-day DL, where a little bit of elbow soreness, but he never really gained any momentum after he came back from AAA to join the Cubs. He was having a great year. By his standards, his ERA was down from 2010. He pitched more innings than the previous season, and his ERA and strikeouts were better than any year prior to 2011. Mateo will have a good season this year, I think. Someone who could pitch 6th, 7th inning, or who can possibly pitch a little bit longer if we go into extras. Mateo's a big, strong guy, throws the ball hard, and look forward to seeing him in a 6th or 7th inning role this coming season. Next we got is young Jeff Russell. James Russell, excuse me. James is a very talented kid, veteran in the Cubs bullpen. Will be entering his 3rd full season in the pen for the Cubs. Last year he pitched in 64 games, which is more than his 2010 campaign, and his ERA was down to about 4.12, which was better than his previous ERA, which was 6.25, so that was good to see out of James. He pitched in 67 innings and had 41 Ks. Russell is growing to be an elite pitcher in this league, especially for the Cubs in the bullpen. Someone who can pitch long innings. Someone who, if we go into extras, like I said, can pitch there. Also, I feel like James could make a spot start here and there if one of our pitchers needs a rest. He's very versatile, like I said, and look forward to seeing James in the starting rotation. Or not starting rotation, in the bullpen in 2012. This guy I don't see starting in the bullpen or in the rotation, but I feel like he'll start in AAA and work his way up to the Cubs this season. His name is Scott Main. Scott was a member of the D-backs last year until we traded Aaron Heilman for Scott, and also we got a first base prospect by the name of Ryan White. Scott also only played in 7 games with the Cubs last year, and he only pitched 7 innings with 5 Ks. He's someone you could possibly see in a Cubs uniform later in the year, like I said, but I feel like, again, he'll start in AAA. He only did play it, like I said, 1 game, and that was at the end of the season just to see how he did, get some big league experience under his belt. Next, we got big Jeff Samardzija. Jeff is entering his 5th full season in the Cubs as a Cub. Last year he played solely in the bullpen, playing in 75 games, all in relief, no starts. He does, however, have the ability to become a starter, which I think he's going to battle for in camp, but I think he'll just fall short of that with all the young arms we got as starters in the spring training this year. But I feel like he could come in and make a spot start as well if we needed him to. Another guy that could go long innings or get out of a jam in the 6th, 7th, or even 8th innings when needed. Jeff played in like 75 games, like I said. He had a 2.97 ERA and 87 Ks, which is amazing out of Jeff, especially seeing that he was a football player for Notre Dame, but his real passion was baseball, and it sees that all his work with the pitching coaches and the pitching staff have worked off immensely. Next guy I got coming in the bullpen is a pitcher from Tampa Bay. We signed as a free agent. That is Andy Sonnenstein. Andy can be a starter at times. He was a starter from 2007 to 2009 in Tampa Bay, but over the last couple seasons, especially starting in 2010, he's been solely in relief. He appeared in 56 games in the past 2 years and only 8 being starts, so that kind of tells you where his new position in the major leagues has been. This season, he's someone who can throw in any situation. He's a veteran leader guy that I can feel can help out the Cubs in their bullpen and possibly make a spot start here and there as well. So it's good to see that we have all these options in case we have injuries. We can kind of mix and match and see what we want to do during the season. Next, we got the setup man for the Chicago Cubs. That's Kerry Wood. Kerry is back for his 12th season as a Cub and his 4th season in the bullpen. Kerry Wood was signed to Cubs actually picked him up on his 1-year option. They actually signed him right as the Chicago Cubs convention was going on, so it was great to see him there. We picked up his $3 million club option for 2013. Carey's going to continue his role as a setup man for Marmol in the 8th inning, as well as possibly being a closer at times when Marmol is injured, or if he just needs a little rest, especially if we're playing day-night doubleheaders or doubleheaders during the day. Carey played 55 games last year, and he had 3.35 ERA and had 57 Ks and only 19 earned runs. And finally, your man in the bullpen this year, being your closer, is Carlos Marmol. Marmol is coming off one of his, I wouldn't say worst years, but one of his down years. Saves were down, Ks were down, ERA was up. It just wasn't his season last year, but I feel like knowing Marmol, he's going to have that slider work and also jamming in with the fastball. I feel like he can also come back and be an elite closer for this club and help the Cubs get back to the playoffs if possible. All right, guys, next we're going to talk a little bit about who I feel could be in the starting rotation this season. I have 6 names, some of which obviously you're not going to get 6 guys in the rotation, but some of these guys can go back and forth between the bullpen. Starting with Travis Wood. Travis Wood we picked up from Cincinnati in a trade for Sean Marshall in the offseason. Travis is a starter. He started 22 games last season, and he went 6-6 with a 4.84 ERA. He pitched 106 innings, opponent batting average 293, and only gave up 57 earned runs. This guy here from Cincinnati fans is a great guy, good pitcher, strong arm, young kid. Looking for big production out of him this year, so I could feel him being a 4th or 5th starter in this Cubs rotation, depending on which way Dale Swain wants to push things. Next, we got Cubs, I wouldn't say veteran, but he's entering his 4th season as a Chicago Cubs, and that is Randy Wells. Wells was hurt most of the season last year. He only played in 23 games, or only started 23 games. He went 7-6 with a 5.00 ERA, which wasn't his best, especially coming off 09 when he only had a 3.05 ERA. Earned runs was down from 2010, which was all right to see, but I feel like we could have gotten a little bit more out of him. Maybe a little bit more run support would have helped him win a couple more games, but again, it's not always on the runs. You still got to get that ERA and hits and earned runs down. But I feel like this is a guy that can get the run support, get back his arm strength, and be a 4th or 5th starter in this rotation. It's going to help immensely for the Chicago Cubs in 2012. Next, we got Paul Maholm. Paul Maholm was a free agent. We signed. He was previously with Pittsburgh since 2005. He played 7 seasons with the Pittsburgh Pirates, all as a starter. He started 26 games last year. He went 6-14 with a 3.66 ERA. He had 1 complete game and 1 shutout, which is awesome to see. He pitched 162 innings, gave up 66 earned runs, and opponent's batting average was 262. Again, this is a great guy you could put as a 3rd or 4th starter right behind Garza and Dempster in the rotation. Someone that you can count on there every 5th start. And looking for the Cubs a big year out of Paul Maholm if he makes the rotation, which I feel he can. Next is Chris Falstad. Chris was a Florida Marlin last year. We picked him up in a trade for Carlos Zambrano. Maholm was a starting pitcher there. He started 29 games with a 4.89 ERA and a 5-13 record. Chris is another kid, just like Travis Wood. I feel like they could either be a starter or somebody that could play in the bullpen as in long relief, or somebody that can pitch in the 6th, 7th innings for the Cubs in this season. Chris is a great guy. A lot of good stuff I heard about him. He's a great, strong pitcher, young kid. His best year was in 2008, but I feel like he can get back to that level if he works with pitching coach Chris Bozio and also Lester Strode in the bullpen, help him get his arm back to where it needs to be. And now your 1 and 2 starters, I feel, number 1, you're looking at Matt Garza. I mean, there's no other option I see right now other than him. Garza pitched in 31 games, started 31 games, was 10-10 with a 3.32 ERA. Last year he had 197 strikeouts, which was 47 more than the year previous. He had a monster year to his stats. It was awesome to see him come into Chicago from the American League and get the job done for the Chicago Cubs. And finally, Ryan Dempster. Demp is it's great to see Demp back. We picked him up on his option for this year. Dempster is going to be your number 2 starter, I feel like, coming into this season. He started 34 games, went 10-14, and is another guy that had a high ERA of 4.80 and really didn't get much run support. But again, you can't make the excuse of run support, especially when your ERA is that high. You got to get that down and let your offense work for you, which they didn't really do last year. But I see if Dempster can get the run support and get his ERA down to around 2, probably around 3, 2.5, I can see him being an elite guy, maybe even making an all-star game next year as a starter. And I'm looking forward to seeing him in the bullpen. So that's it, guys. That's my rotations in my bullpen right now. Please comment on the video if you have your own opinions. Let me know. I'll always like to see that. Also, check out my link for my Facebook page below, and also for all your football draft and football season needs, check out my friend Dave's website called Wake Up It's Football. I have that link below for you as well. All right, guys. Talk to you later.